morning, everybody. I'm sorry, can folks hear me?
Good morning, council member.
It's a little echo, but good morning, everybody. We are here on Friday, October 16th for the Committee on Streets and Services. I understand that state law currently requires that we follow the announcement. I'm sorry, I'll start again. I understand that state law currently requires that the following announcement be made at the beginning of every remote public hearing as follows. Due to the current public health emergency, city council committees are currently meeting remotely. We are using Microsoft Teams to make these remote hearings possible. Instructions for how the public may view and offer public testimony at public hearings of council committees are included in the public hearing notices that are published in the Daily News, Enquirer, and Legal Intelligencer prior to the hearings, and can also be found on phlcouncil.com. I now note that the hour has come. Mr. Maynard, will you please call the roll to take attendance? Members that are present will please indicate that you are present when your name is called. Also, please say a few brief words when responding so that your image will be displayed on screen when you speak. Mr. Clerk.
Chairman Thomas.
I'm present.
Very good. Vice Chair Squilla. Councilmember Squilla. Councilmember Bass. Councilmember Bass. Councilmember O.
Present. Good morning, Chairman. I'm sorry. Good morning, Chairman. Good morning, colleagues.
Good morning.
Councilmember Brooks.
Good morning, Chairman. Good morning, colleagues. I am present.
Good morning.
Councilmember Johnson. Councilmember Johnson. Councilmember Gilmore Richardson.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, colleagues. I'm present.
Good morning. I'd also like to acknowledge that Council members Green and Dom are also present with us here today. Thank you, Mr. Clerk. A quorum of the committee is present, and the hearing is now called to order. This is a public hearing on the Committee on Streets and Services regarding bills number 200093, 200158, 200162, 200163, 200178, 200179, 200185, 200186, 200187, 200209, 200210, 200211, 200259, 200373, 200375, 200388, 200415, 200422, 200423, 200481, 200495, 200496, 200497, 200498, 200499, 200500, and 200517. Mr. Maynard, will you please read the titles of the bills?
Of course, Mr. Chairman. 200093, an ordinance establishing parking regulations in the vicinity of North 3rd Street and Fairmount Avenue, Wildey Street and Marlborough Street, George Street and North 2nd Street, Salmon Street and Columbia Avenue, Montgomery Avenue,
I just met a kid, Caleb,
and Wildey Street,
from Tennessee,
Orianna Street,
he
and
came
George
in, I'm
Street.
talking to him. I said, well, why did you come?
I'm sorry, Mr. Clerk. Can everybody please mute themselves?
The only place where you don't get bothered is Kensington and Philadelphia.
Sorry, can everyone mute themselves, please? Thank you. Mr. Clerk, you can continue.
Of course.
Actually, Mr. Clerk, let's just start from the beginning.
As you wish, Mr. Chairman. 200093, an ordinance establishing parking regulations in the vicinity of North 3rd Street and Fairmount Avenue, Wildey Street and Marlborough Street, George Street and North 2nd Street, Salmon Street and Columbia Avenue, Montgomery Avenue and Wildey Street, Orianna Street and George Street. Bill 200158, an ordinance authorizing Alterra Properties, owner, to construct, own, and maintain a proposed exterior building ramp and steps at 1401-15 Arch Street, Philadelphia, PA 19102, property, all under certain terms and conditions. Bill 200162, an ordinance amending Section 12701 of the Philadelphia Code, entitled Designation of Bike Lanes, to authorize a buffered bike lane on Spruce Street from 2nd Street to 22nd Street, and on Pine Street from Front Street to 18th Street, all under certain terms and conditions. Bill 200163, an ordinance establishing no truck parking regulations on Belfield Avenue between North 20th Street and Worcester Street, and Ogons Avenue between West Somerville Avenue and Lindley Avenue. Bill 200178, an ordinance establishing a no truck parking regulation on the 800 block of East Godfrey Avenue, both sides. Bill 200179, an ordinance amending Section 9-213 of the Philadelphia Code, entitled Farmers Markets, by adding a permissible location on Ogons Avenue, all under certain terms and conditions. Bill 200185, an ordinance amending Section 12-701 of the Philadelphia Code, entitled Designation of Bicycle Lanes, to authorize bicycle lanes in the vicinity of Pahlski Avenue from 61st Street to Essington Avenue and Essington Avenue from Pahlski Avenue to Bartram Avenue, and making associated changes to parking regulations within the same limits, all under certain terms and conditions. Bill 200186, an ordinance amending Section 12701 of the Philadelphia Code, entitled Designation of Bicycle Lanes, to authorize bicycle lanes in the 3rd Council District in the vicinity of South 49th Street from Pascal Avenue to Grays Avenue from 49th Street to Lindbergh Boulevard, and Lindbergh Boulevard from Grays Avenue to Elmwood Avenue, and making associated changes to parking regulations within the same limits, all under certain terms and conditions. Bill 200187, an ordinance establishing a no parking regulation on the east side of North 31st Street between Jefferson Street and West Thompson Street. Bill 2009, an ordinance establishing parking regulations in the vicinity of Green Street and North 11th Street, North 13th Street and Mount Vernon Street, Allen Street and Germantown Avenue, Wallace Street and North 12th Street, Lawrence Street and Poplar Street, Brandywine Street and North 10th Street, Burke Street and Girard Avenue. Bill 200210, an ordinance authorizing Walnut Street Theater Corporation, owner, to construct, own, and maintain a proposed building overhang encroachment at 815-23 Walnut Street, Philadelphia, PA 19107, property, all under certain terms and conditions. And Bill 200211, an ordinance establishing no truck parking regulations on 5800 Musgrave Street. Bill 200259, an ordinance authorizing the construction, installation, ownership, use, and maintenance of an open-air sidewalk cafe at 901-25 North Delaware Avenue, all under certain terms and conditions. Bill 200373, an ordinance authorizing Gojo Incorporated, owner, to install, own, and maintain a proposed sidewalk cafe at 4536-40 Baltimore Avenue, Philadelphia, PA 19143, property, all under certain terms and conditions. Bill 200375, an ordinance authorizing the overnight truck parking for the commercial vehicle of Vincent Capello, owner and operator of Vinnie's Fruit and Produce, located in the right-of-way on the north side of Dickinson Street between 9th and 10th Street, and accepting Mr. Capiello from certain provisions of Section 9-203 of the Philadelphia Code, entitled Street Vendors, and certain provisions of Section 12-901 of the Philadelphia Code, entitled Stopping, Standing, or Parking Prohibited at Certain Places, all under certain terms and conditions. Bill 200388, an ordinance authorizing RPG Hamilton, LLC, CO Radnor Property Group, LLC, owner, to construct, own, and maintain both existing and proposed pedestrian scale streetlights at 440 North 15th Street, Philadelphia, PA 19130, property, all under certain terms and conditions. Bill 200415, an ordinance establishing a no truck parking regulation on both sides of Talbot Street from Torresdale Avenue eastbound to the end of the roadway. Bill 200422, an ordinance authorizing the Philadelphia Chinatown Development Corporation, aka PCDC, owner, to own and maintain a pedestrian plaza along the west median of the 10th Street and Vine Street intersections on the structure carrying traffic above Interstate 676 in Philadelphia, PA 19107, property, all under certain terms and conditions. Bill 200423, an ordinance authorizing Keystone Property Group owner to construct, own, and maintain a proposed exterior building ramp at 100 South Independence Mall West, Philadelphia, PA 19106. Property, all under certain terms and conditions. Bill 200481, an ordinance authorizing the Churchview Commons Condominium Association owner to own and maintain street lighting encroachments along the 100 block of Church Street in the city of Philadelphia, all under certain terms and conditions. Bill 200495, an ordinance regulating the direction of movement of traffic on certain portions of Ludlow Street, all under certain terms and conditions. Bill 200496, an ordinance amending Section 11-104 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Curb Cuts to define curb cuts and add prohibitions on curb cuts in order to facilitate the construction of transit platforms under certain terms and conditions. Bill 200497, an ordinance amending Bill number 200351 entitled An Ordinance Authorizing the Operation of Sidewalk Cafes during the COVID-19 emergency until December 31st, 2020, in areas of the city where such activity currently must be otherwise authorized by special ordinance, and allowing expanded activity by currently licensed sidewalk cafe operations. To extend the date Bill number 200351 will remain in effect, all under certain terms and conditions. Bill 200498, an ordinance amending Bill number 200352, entitled An Ordinance Amending Chapter 11-100 of the Philadelphia Code, entitled General Provisions, to authorize the Streets Department to permit closure of the public right-of-way. To extend the date Bill number 200352 will remain in effect, all under certain terms and conditions. Bill 200499, an ordinance authorizing Mark Capriotti, owner, to install, own, and maintain a proposed sidewalk cafe at 310 West Master Street, Philadelphia, PA 19122, property, all under certain terms and conditions. Bill 200500, an ordinance removing existing parking meters and regulations, as well as establishing an authorized vehicles only regulation in front of 7306 Castor Avenue and both sides of the 7300 block of Elgin Street. Bill 200517, an ordinance amending Section 5 of an ordinance Bill number 180692, approved on October 31st, 2018, entitled, an ordinance legalizing an existing wood deck and ramp encroachment at 1338-1344 Rising Sun Avenue, Philadelphia, PA 19140, property, under certain terms and conditions by extending the period of compliance with the terms and conditions stated therein. That concludes the bills to be heard today. Council member.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Before we begin to hear testimony from the witnesses we have for today, everyone who's been invited to the meeting to testify should be aware that the public hearing is being recorded. Because the hearing is public, participants and viewers have no reasonable expectation of privacy. By continuing to be a part of the meeting, you are consenting to being recorded. Additionally, prior to recognizing members for questions or comments they have for the witnesses, I will note for the record at this time that we will use the chat feature available on Microsoft Teams to allow members to signal that they wish to be recognized. In order to comply with the Sunshine Act, the chat feature must only be used for that purpose. Mr. Maynard, will you please call the first panel of witnesses to testify this morning?
Our first
Thank you,
bill up.
Mr. Chair. This is Dave. Just wanted to interrupt. This is Council Member Squilla that just wanted to be recorded present at the hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Swiller. We appreciate it. And good morning to you. Mr. Clerk, will you please call the first panel of witnesses we have to testify this morning?
Of course. The first bill up is bill number 200093, We also have bill number 200209. The witness for both bills is Dion Braceley. Dion Braceley, are you ready to begin your testimony?
Morning.
Good morning. Please state your name for the record and you may begin your testimony.
Good day, Council. My name is Dion Braceley, Deputy Manager for the Philadelphia Parking Authority. Thank you for allowing me to testify before Council regarding ordinances 200093 and 200209, establishing parking regulations. The Philadelphia Parking Authority has no objection to the ordinances previously read before Council and recommends favorable consideration. Thank you again for your time. I will be happy to respond to questions at this time.
Thank you for your testimony. Any questions or comments from members of the committee or council members in general? There being none, Mr. Maynard, will you please call the next witness?
The next bill to be heard is Bill 200179. The witness to be heard is Sarah Adamo from Licensing and Inspections.
Good morning. Please state your name for the record and you may begin your testimony.
Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the Committee on Streets and Services. My name is Sarah Adamo, and I am the Legislative Affairs Manager for the Department of Licenses and Inspections. Today, I am here to provide testimony on Bill number 200179, which, if enacted, will amend Section 9-213 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Farmers Markets. This bill would permit a farmer's market to be located on the sidewalk and the curb lane of the west side of Ogontz Avenue in front of 7178 Ogontz Avenue. The department has no objection to this bill and is prepared to enforce its provisions should it become law. Thank you for the opportunity to provide the department's testimony on bill number 200179. I would be happy to respond to questions at this time.
Thank you for your testimony. Are there any questions or comments from members of the committee or council members in general on this for this particular witness? There being none, thank you for your testimony. We appreciate it. Mr. Maynard, will you please call the next witness?
Our next bill to be heard is 200496, which I believe Councilmember Green and Councilmember Brooks both wanted to comment on.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Before we call our next witness, Councilmember Green or Councilmember Brooks, did you want to comment on this bill?
Yes, if I could just thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll be very brief. This bill was introduced working with Christopher Pahlski from the Office of Transportation, Infrastructure, and Sustainability. One of the goals that I've been working on for some time as chair of the Council Committee on Disability and People with Special Needs is the initiative of Cities of Inclusion. Our goal by 2026 is to make the city of Philadelphia the world's premier city of inclusion for people of all backgrounds, regardless of their learning or physical difference. That's based on 5 key areas: employment, education, housing, healthcare, as well as access to information and services. And so the work of Otis on to provide opportunity for people who have challenges with accessibility is very important. This is an issue that the city as well as SEPTA has been working on for a period of time based on 2 major initiatives. One, the direct bus program, and the trolley modernization program. In order to make these initiatives feasible for those in the city of Philadelphia that have accessibility challenges, we need to make sure that driveways or other curb cuts that make the construction of these accessible stations impossible changed. And so with this, I hope the members of this committee will support this legislation.
Thank you, Councilmember Green. We appreciate you here. Appreciate your testimony. Chair recognizes Councilmember Brooks.
Thank you so much, Councilman. I want to thank the bill's sponsor, Councilmember Green, for putting forward this important legislation. I think as we begin to modernize our city's transportation system, it's important that we keep in mind that our city's transit must be ADA compliant and accessible. Accessibility should never be an afterthought, but a precursor for change that improves the quality lives of all Philadelphians. I have worked to navigate this city with so many people with disability and their families who rely on the city's transit system to commute, to go to work, to go to school, and to access healthcare. I believe it is crucial that as we create a world-class city, we must keep and honor and advocate for the civil liberties that are required through the ADA. And that mandates accessibility for all Philadelphians to live and thrive. So I really support this bill, and I'm really excited to be voting yes on this.
Thank you, Councilmember Brooks. Appreciate your testimony. Mr. Clerk, can you please call the first witness?
The first witness is Chris Pahlski from Otis, and also Yasha Zaranconk from is offering public comment.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Please state your name for the record and begin your testimony.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the Streets and Services Committee. Thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today. My name is Christopher Pahlski, Director of Policy and Strategic Initiatives at Otis. I'm here today to offer testimony on bill number 200496. This bill is sponsored by Councilmember Derek Green, who I'd like to thank for helping to promote accessible, high-quality transit service. And I'd also like to thank Councilmember Brooks for the comments that she just offered. Otis supports this bill, as does the Mayor's Office for People with Disabilities. Providing equitable, accessible, and sustainable mobility by improving public transit is a key goal of Connect, Philadelphia's strategic transportation plan. ADA accessible bus and trolley stations require curb space that is clear of driveways and other curb cuts. This bill would allow the Streets Department to designate certain sections of the curb for construction of future bus and trolley stations. Construction of curb cuts would be prohibited at these locations. This bill is an important protection for building future direct bus lines, similar to the line on Roosevelt Boulevard that began operation in 2018, and for SEPTA's trolley modernization program. Thank you for the opportunity to testify. I can respond to any questions you have. I also want to say that we did put together a one-pager with some pictures that if some of the aspects of this bill are confusing, I think the pictures make it clear, and I'm happy to send that around to any of the council members or their staff. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. We appreciate it. Mr. Clerk, can you please call the next witness? And what we'll do is we'll take questions both at the same time.
Hello, this is Yasha.
The next witness is Yasha, commenting on Bill 200496.
Please state your name and you may begin your testimony.
My name is Yasha Zaranconk. I am the coalition organizer and manager of Transit Forward Philadelphia, and I want to thank City Council for allowing me to take the time to speak today on Transit Platform Protection Bill 200496. Transit Forward Philadelphia is a coalition of Philadelphia-based organizations made up of local businesses, labor unions, CDCs, and senior environmental interest groups who advocate for transit improvements that benefit all Philadelphians. Our mission is to amplify the voices of SEPTA riders and greater Philadelphia residents in support of a safe, accessible, and sustainable transit network. An accessible transit network is one where seniors, persons with disabilities, and families traveling with strollers all have equal access to SEPTA service. The city and SEPTA work hard to ensure that residents, regardless of their ability or disability, have access to every opportunity the city has to offer. The trolley modernization program is just an example of how both agencies are taking the progressive steps necessary to provide comprehensive ADA accessibility for every rider. Trolleys are an integral part of SEPTA's transit network. They transport about 90,000 passengers a day and are among SEPTA's highest ridership and most efficient routes. Unfortunately, SEPTA's trolleys are over 40 years old and are in need of modernization in order to serve the roughly 246,000 residents in Philadelphia with a disability. The construction of ground-level platforms for trolleys will provide comprehensive ADA accessibility for seniors and riders with disabilities. Transit Forward Philadelphia supports SEPTA's trolley modernization program and the Transit Platform Protection Bill, which will construct ADA-compliant near-level boarding and alighting platforms. By preserving space for ADA-accessible trolley stations and prohibiting the construction of new driveways or curb cuts in designated transit platform areas, both agencies will justly serve the tens of thousands of seniors and riders with disabilities who choose to take the trolley every day in Philadelphia. We at Transit Forward Philadelphia endorse Transit Platform Protection Bill number 200496 and thank the City Council for having us here today and allowing us to provide comments in support of this bill. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Are there any questions or comments from members of the committee or other council members that have joined us today for this particular panel? There being none, I want to thank you both for your testimony today. We definitely appreciate you providing great insight. Mr. Clerk, can you please call the next set of witnesses to testify?
Sure. The next two bills to be heard are bills 200185 and 200186. And our witness is Jeanette Burke from Otis.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Please state your name and feel free to begin. State your name for the record and begin your testimony.
Thank you. My name is Jeanette Burke. Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today. My name is Jeanette Burke, and I'm the Bicycle and Pedestrian Coordinator in the Office of Complete Streets, which is part of the Office of Transportation, Infrastructure, and Sustainability. I'm here today to offer testimony in support of Bill number 200185. Just point of order, a question, do I do these separately or together? Do you want bills on both testimonies back to back, or should I take them one at a time?
One at a time would be preferred.
One at a time it is. Okay, so this is bill number 200185. This bill will remove a parking lane on the north side of Pahlski Avenue between 61st and 63rd Streets, and on the south side of Pahlski and Essington Avenues between 63rd and Bartram Avenue. There are existing painted bike lanes on this corridor today. This project will reorganize the roadway to provide a two-way protected bike lane. Constructing this bikeway is consistent with the Philadelphia 2035 Comprehensive Plan, Connect Philadelphia's Strategic Transportation Plan, and the city's pedestrian and bicycle plan. This bikeway will provide a safe, sustainable, and healthy transportation option for people of all ages and abilities. If this bill is passed and enacted, the new bikeway will reorganize the roadway in a way that will calm vehicle traffic along this Vision Zero high injury network corridor and upgrade the bicycle network connection between South and Southwest Philadelphia. There's demonstrated support for this project from Southwest and Eastwick neighborhood groups. The project is expected to be completed with PennDOT repaving of Pahlski and Essington Avenues in 2021. The Office of Transportation, Infrastructure, and Sustainability coordinated on this bill with the Department of Streets and the offices of Council Members Gauthier and Johnson. Thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have at this time.
Thank you for your testimony. Before we open it up for questions, you can now proceed into your testimony on the other bill you came to testify about.
All right, the other one it is. I'm here today to offer testimony in support of bill number 200186. This bill will remove a parking lane on the east side of 49th Street, Grace Avenue, and Lindbergh Avenue, the corridor from Paschal Avenue to Elmwood Avenue. There are existing painted bike lanes on this corridor. The project will reorganize the roadway to provide a two-way protected bike lane. Constructing this bikeway is consistent with the Philadelphia 2035 Comprehensive Plan, Connect Philadelphia's Strategic Transportation Plan, and the city's pedestrian and bicycle plan. These bikeways will provide a safe, sustainable, and healthy transportation option for people of all ages and abilities, and will also provide traffic calming for all roadway users. If this bill is passed and enacted, the new bikeway will reorganize the roadway in a way that will calm vehicle traffic along this Vision Zero high injury network corridor and upgrade the bicycle network connections between the South and Southwest Philadelphia. This corridor is part of Pennsylvania State Bike Route E, the East Coast Greenway, and also connects Bartram's Garden and the Schuylkill River Trail. There's demonstrated support for this project from Southwest CDC. This project is expected to be completed with PennDOT repaving of the corridor in 2021, and the Office of Transportation Infrastructure and Sustainability coordinated on this bill with the Department of Streets and Councilmember Gauthier. Thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have at this time.
Thank you so much for your testimony. Are there any questions or comments from members of the committee or council members that are attending today?
Mr. Chairman, this is Councilmember School. Are we testifying on 200185 as amended? Yes.
Mr. Clerk?
Yes.
Jeanette Burke has nodded and said yes
Okay.
to
Yes.
testifying to the amended bill.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Are there any other questions or comments from other members of council? There being none, I want to thank you for your testimony today. We appreciate the valuable information. Mr. Clerk, can you please call the next panel of witnesses?
Sure. The next bill is to be heard from about is Bill 200162. Our witness is Mike Carroll from the Streets Department.
Good morning. Please state your name for the record and you may proceed with your testimony.
Thank you, Councilmember Thomas and members of the Streets Committee. My name is Michael Carroll. I'm the Deputy Managing Director for the Office of Transportation, Infrastructure, and Sustainability. The Streets Department, Office of Transportation, Infrastructure, and Sustainability have reviewed the proposed legislation contained in Bill number 200162 to supplement safety measures incorporated in our recent Pine and Spruce Street safety project by specifically promoting the installation of delineator posts along intersection approaches from 2nd Street to 22nd Street. This is an important step which is consistent with our ongoing efforts to provide robust protection for cyclists along the corridor, and we have no objections to this bill. This concludes my testimony. I'm happy to take any questions the committee may have.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from council members on the committee or council members attending today? Hearing none, I want to thank you for your testimony. We appreciate the valuable information. Mr. Clerk, can you please call the next witness or panel of witnesses?
Sure. From the Pennsylvania Restaurant and Lodging Association.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Chair recognizes Councilmember Don.
Thank you, Chairman Thomas, and thank you, Dave. I want to thank also my staff, my council colleagues, many who are on this committee, who supported these bills, the administration, and the hospitality industry for all of the collective work, everything they did to make this a reality. This was really a smart restart of our restaurants, some hotels, and event spaces. But I also want to thank everyone for their collaborative working together, the willingness to respond to questions and concerns we all had during this time period, in this very unusual period called the pandemic. And we did it, I think, in a very safe and healthy way. You know, in many ways, what we have realized is that restaurants have become our new anchor in Philadelphia, not just in Center City, but in every community. People go to a restaurant and then they go shopping afterwards, and the restaurants are so important because they bring people to all the other stores and businesses. They are really crucial. And these bills have really helped us energize the economy in this area in a safe way. You know, people are coming out to eat, they're staying to shop in every section of the city, and it's helping our local economy. These two bills are necessary to support and stabilize Philadelphia hospitality, and we must do everything we can to support them and help keep their doors open and local residents employed. That's a big part of this. We brought back a lot of people for jobs, especially during this difficult time. But, you know, outdoor dining has also added a new look and a feel to many of our city's sidewalks and streetscapes. It's pretty amazing. I think it's really great for the city. We brought back a lot of life into our communities. I think many of us have come to appreciate how impactful these new spaces can be. And these bills just represent an ability to rethink and reimagine what is possible in Philadelphia, a new way of doing things. I think this is a tremendous silver lining that came out of this pandemic. that these kinds of ideas and activities will help put us in a better position to succeed after the pandemic. And because I will say that the outdoor dining scene, I think, is tremendous. I want to thank everyone who has supported this effort. And there's so many people. I want to congratulate and applaud the restaurants who have worked tirelessly to meet the new demands that this pandemic has brought upon the industry. And let's just be really clear. These two bills have helped restaurants stay in business, keep employees getting jobs and being paid, and they're not really making money at this point. They're just trying to stay alive and pay their bills. Most are still losing money. They're just losing less. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you to the committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember Dom, and thank you for your leadership on this issue. It's definitely appreciated, not just by your colleagues on council, but I'm sure others across the city will share my sentiments. So thank you, Councilmember Dom.
Mr. Chairman, I expect you to be taking that new little baby out to some outdoor dining too, okay?
Give him a couple weeks, and I'm pretty sure he's going to want to do that as well. So thank you. Thank you so much. Mr. Clerk, can you just, for the record again, please call the next panel, and once your name is called, please just communicate your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
The first witness to testify is Sarah Chu. Sarah will be commenting on 200497 and 200498 in succession, if you prefer.
Okay. Good morning, Chairmember Thomas and members of Committee on Streets and Services. I'm Sarah Chu, City Planner with the Philadelphia City Planning Commission. I'm here to testify on Bill number 200497, which was introduced by Councilmember Dom on September 24th, 2020. Bill number 200497 amends Bill number 200351, which was passed by City Council on June 25th of 2020, and it was signed by the mayor on August 24th of 2020. This bill authorized the use of sidewalk cafes throughout the city, where before they have been authorized only in certain parts of the city and required bill to be built outside of those areas. It also allowed sidewalk cafes to extend in front of neighboring properties, waived fees, and authorized the managing director's office to promulgate relevant regulations. The bill was authorized to remain in effect until December 31st, 2020. Bill number 200497 would extend the authorization of Bill number 200351 from the current end date of December 31st, 2020 to a new date of December 31st, 2021. The City Planning Commission staff have been involved in creating the regulations and actively updating the guidelines to ensure a safe experience for workers, pedestrians, and diners. The Planning Commission is scheduled to consider this bill on October 20th, which is next Tuesday, with a staff recommendation for approval. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have at this time.
You can proceed with your testimony for the next bill.
Sure. Good morning, Chairmember Thomas and members of Committee on Streets and Services. I'm Sarah Chu, City Planner with the Philadelphia City Planning Commission. I'm here to testify on Bill number 200498, which was introduced by Councilmember Dom on September 24th, 2020. Bill number 200498 amends Bill number 200352, which authorized the Streets Department to permit closure of the public right-of-way to extend the date of Bill number 200352 to remain in effect, all under certain current terms and conditions. Bill number 200352 was passed by the City Council on June 25th and was signed by the Mayor on June 26th of 2020. This bill is to authorize the Street Department to promulgate regulations for temporary right-of-way closures during the public health emergency, including for the operations of businesses that are unable to operate at a full capacity indoors. This has allowed the Street Department to establish an application process for dining spaces in parking lanes or streeteries, as well as a pilot program for full street closure for outdoor dining. This bill was authorized to remain in effect until December 31st, 2020. Bill number 200498 would extend the authorization of Bill number 200352 from the current date to a new date of December 31st, 2021. The Planning Commission staff has been involved in creating the regulations and actively updating the guidelines to ensure a safe experience for workers, pedestrians, and diners. The Planning Commission is scheduled to consider this bill on October 20th with a staff recommendation for approval. I'll be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, can you please call the next witness, and we will hold questions until the end of this panel.
Sure. The next witness is Mike Carroll, who will be testifying on 200-497 and 200-498 in succession.
Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the Streets and Services Committee. My name is Michael Carroll. I'm the Deputy Managing Director of the Office of Transportation, Infrastructure and Sustainability, OTIS. I'm here to testify on bill numbers 200-497 and 200-498 introduced by Councilmember Dom. On behalf of the county administration, I want to thank the bill's sponsor for working with us on the legislation adopted last session to expand outdoor dining opportunities in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. We acknowledge and agree with the legislation's intention to extend these opportunities for an additional year. We feel this step is appropriate given that the pandemic may carry over into the next year, along with the required public health restrictions that continue to hamper economic activity in the city. Since last spring, when Council passed the previous ordinances related to outdoor dining, the administration has promulgated effective regulations and successfully permitted or licensed over 700 permanent locations for outdoor dining throughout the city. In addition, we've managed dozens of street closures to expand opportunities even further. This work has allowed many more establishments to remain viable than would otherwise be the case, has kept thousands of Philadelphians employed, and has helped to sustain the character and vitality of numerous neighborhoods. It has also offered tangible hope where otherwise people may have found much to despair over in the past few months. All of this is a reflection of the hard work and dedication of dozens of city employees collaborating closely with each other across departmental lines, as well as with council, neighborhoods, and businesses themselves. We have maintained productive dialogue with peer cities as well, and officials across the state, nationally, and in fact internationally, as colleagues as far away as Quebec City and Montreal have shared insights on the topic of winterization, among other things. While our understanding of best practices has evolved over time, the guidance we've provided has been effective overall. To be clear, enforcement has been necessary, but it has also been very effective. We will certainly consider ourselves blessed when the COVID-19 pandemic has passed, but as of today, there have been no significant known COVID spreading events that can be traced to licensed and permitted outdoor dining in the city of Philadelphia. Furthermore, aside from a few isolated incidents, the record in terms of traffic safety and public safety overall is equally encouraging. These bills allow for the city to continue promoting the local economy while also ensuring the employment of dozens of patrons, residents, and businesses alike, and their enjoyment. Therefore, the administration supports the passage of bills 200-497 and 200-498. Thank you for your time. This concludes my testimony, and I'm pleased to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. We appreciate your testimony. We appreciate your insight. Mr. Clerk, can you please call the next witness on
Hi, this is Melissa.
Our next witness is Melissa Bova, commenting on 200-497 and 200-498.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Please state your name for the record, and you may proceed with your testimony on both bills.
Thank you. My name is Melissa Bova. I'm the Vice President of Government Affairs at the Pennsylvania Restaurant and Lodging Association. Councilman Thomas and members of the Streets and Services Committee, thank you for allowing me to testify today in support of Bill number 200-497 and Bill number 200-498. These bills would continue the successful expansion of sidewalk cafes, streeteries, and street closures that were passed unanimously by Council earlier this year until December 31st, 2021. The legislation is originally set to expire on December 31st of this year. As you all know, when the COVID shutdown began in March, restaurants were shut down completely, and they relied primarily on outdoor seating to get through the summer. We saw restaurants, despite economic uncertainty, be creative in how they could continue to serve the community while ensuring they could protect their guests and employees. This industry is nothing if not resourceful, but they will not continue to survive this crisis and any future potential restrictions if they aren't given the opportunity to continue to use outdoor seating as a viable way to get through the coming months. Yesterday, the City of Philadelphia released guidance that stipulated how restaurants could continue to utilize outdoor seating through the winter. But unless this legislation is extended, that ability will end on December 31st. This legislation is complemented by the Pennsylvania Liquor Control Board's extension of premise, which continues to be in place at the state level. I wish, as I'm sure all of you wish, that we were in a different place right now, that the presence of COVID in our community is gone and our economy is on the way to recovery. Every day, another restaurant or business closes. Bills number 200497 and 200498 lets those that are still in the game know that they will have this benefit until the end of next year so they can continue to make investments to get through the winter and coming months. I want to thank Councilman Dom for sponsoring this legislation and for his steadfast support and advocacy as we have tried to navigate this new normal. I hope, once again, that this committee and council will support this legislation and this extension. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for your testimony. And with that being said, I will open it up to any other members of the committee or any other council members who have a question or comment as it relates to anything that was said by this panel. Well, there being none, I just want to say thank you to the entire panel for your testimony today. And again, thank you to Councilmember Dom for your leadership on this issue. We appreciate all parties coming together and working together to help support businesses and specifically the rest of our industry. So thank you, everyone. Very much appreciated. Mr. Clerk, can you please call the next panel of witnesses?
Sure. For the next 5 bills, Noelle Marconi and Sarah Chu will be our witnesses. First up is Bill 200158.
And so before the witnesses start their testimony, I'll ask that you testify about all 5 bills, and then we'll move to the next witness. Let that witness testify about all 5 bills, and then I'll open it up for questions. Mr. Clerk, is that okay with you?
Sure. Just to make sure that the witnesses are on the right page, I'll read off the list of those bills. They'll be testifying on bills 200158, 200259, 200373, 200388, and 200422.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. You may start by communicating your name for the record, and then you may begin your testimony. You're on mute.
Noelle, you're muted.
Sorry. Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the Streets and Services Committee. My name is Noelle Marconi, and I am the Director of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Streets. I'm here to offer testimony on Bill number 200158, introduced by Council Member Gilmore Richardson on behalf of Council President Clark. This bill authorizes Alterra Properties to construct, own, and maintain an exterior building ramp and steps within the right-of-way at 1401-15 Arch Street. These encroachments will encroach approximately 6 feet onto the west footway of North Broad Street and approximately 6 feet onto the north footway of Arch Street. The Streets Department has no objections to these proposed encroachments and supports the passage of this bill. This concludes my testimony, and pleased to answer any questions you may have. Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the Streets and Services Committee. My name is Noelle Marconi, and I am the Director of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Streets. I'm here to offer testimony on Bill number 200259, introduced by Councilmember Squilla. This bill authorizes Avram Hornick, DBA 90del25 LLC owner, to install, own, and maintain an encroachment in the form of an open-air sidewalk cafe located at 901-25 North Delaware Avenue. A minimum 9 feet of clear passable sidewalk space will remain after installation of the sidewalk cafe. This concludes my testimony. I'm pleased to answer any questions you may have. Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the Streets and Services Committee. My name is Noelle Marconi, and I am the Director of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Streets. I'm here to offer testimony on 200373, introduced by Councilmember Gauthier. This bill authorizes Gojo Incorporated, owner, to install, own, and maintain an encroachment in the form of an open-air cafe on the sidewalk located at 4536-40 Baltimore Avenue. A minimum 9 feet of clear passable sidewalk space will remain after installation of the sidewalk cafe. The Streets Department has no objections to this proposed encroachment and supports the passage of this bill. I understand there are proposed amendments and we support those amendments. This concludes my testimony. I am pleased to answer any questions you may have. Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the Streets and Services Committee. My name is Noelle Marconi and I'm the Director of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Streets. I'm here to offer testimony on Bill number 200388, introduced by Council Member Gilmore Richardson on behalf of Council President Clark. This bill authorizes RPG Hamilton LLC, care of Radnor Property Company, Radnor Property Group, LLC, to construct, own, and maintain both existing and proposed pedestrian scale streetlights at 440 North 15th Street, Philadelphia, PA 19130. These streetlights will be installed along the south footway of Hamilton Street and along the west footway of 15th Street. A minimum of 6 feet of clear passable sidewalk space shall remain after installation. The Streets Department has no objections to these proposed encroachments and supports the passage of this bill. I understand there are proposed amendments and we support those amendments. This concludes my testimony. I'm pleased to answer any questions you may have. Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the Streets and Services Committee. My name is Noelle Marconi. I'm the Director of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Streets. I'm here to offer testimony on Bill number 200422, introduced by Councilmember Squilla. This bill authorizes the Philadelphia Chinatown Development Corporation, aka PCDC owner, to own and maintain various encroachments encompassed by the pedestrian plaza within the right-of-way on the median at 10th Street and Vine Street. These encroachments include a pergola, statues, benches, planters, tables, and other miscellaneous features along the west right-of-way line of 10th Street. A minimum of 6 feet of clear passable sidewalk remains after installation. The Streets Department has no objections to these proposed encroachments and supports the passage of this bill. This concludes my testimony. I'm pleased to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Mr. Clerk, can you please call the next witness?
Sure. The next witness is Sarah Chu, who will be testifying on the same 5 bills previously read.
Good morning, Chairmember Thomas and members of Committee on Streets and Services. I'm Sarah Chu, City Planner with the Philadelphia City Planning Commission. I'm here to testify on Bill number 200158, which was introduced by Councilmember Gilmore Richardson for Council President Clark on February 20th, 2020. Bill number 200158 authorizes the construction of an exterior ADA ramp and steps at 1401-15 Arch Street, located along the north right-of-way of Arch Street and along the west right-of-way of North Broad Street. The ramp will encroach upon the north footway of Arch Street and on the west footway of Broad Street for approximately 6 feet, leaving a 10 feet walking zone space for pedestrians, with a pinch point at the area behind the existing bus shelter. The construction is a part of a redevelopment project which includes a new storefront at the building's ground level at its southeast corner. The Planning Commission recommended Bill number 200158 for approval, with recommendations that the developer continue to work with Otis to relocate the bus shelter in order to reduce the pinch point. Good morning, Chairmember Thomas and members of the Streets Services Committee. I'm Sarah Chu with the City Planning Commission. I'm here to testify on Bill number 200259, which was introduced by Councilmember Squilla on March 12, 2020. Bill number 200259 will permit a sidewalk cafe located along the east right-of-way line of North Delaware Avenue at the property addressed 901-25 North Delaware Avenue to encroach on the east footway of North Delaware Avenue with a variable distance from approximately 3 feet 5 inches to 11 feet 7 inches. An approximate 9 feet of clear and passable sidewalk space will remain for pedestrians. This proposal meets the complete street policy requirement. The City Planning Commission is scheduled to consider this bill on October 20th with a staff recommendation for approval. Good morning, Chairmember Thomas and members of the Committee on Streets and Services. I'm Sarah Chu, City Planner with the Philadelphia City Planning Commission. I'm here to testify on Bill number 200373, which was introduced by Councilmember Gauthier on June 25th of 2020. Bill number 200373 authorized the sidewalk cafe encroachment at 4536-40 Baltimore Avenue. The sidewalk seating will encroach on the south footway of Baltimore Avenue for 5 feet in width and 50 feet in length along the building line, as well as 4 feet in width and 50 feet in length along the curb line. A 9 feet of walking zone space will be maintained. This proposal meets the complete street policy requirement. Therefore, at its meeting on August 18, 2020, the Planning Commission recommended Bill number 200373 for approval as an item in accord with the previous policy. Good morning, Chair Member Thomas and members of Committee on Streets and Services. I'm Sarah Chu, City Planner with the Philadelphia City Planning Commission. I'm here to testify on Bill number 200388 amended, which was introduced by Councilmember Parker for Council President Clark on June 25, 2020. Bill number 200388 authorizes the pedestrian scaled lights encroachment around the property at 440 North 15th Street. The lights will be installed 2 feet from the curb line on Hamilton Street and on North 15th Street within the furnishing zone. A minimum of 6 feet walking zone space will be maintained. This proposal meets the complete street policy. At its meeting on August 18, 2020, the Planning Commission recommended Bill number 200388 for approval as an item in accord with previous policies. Good morning, Chair Member Thomas and members of Committee on Streets and Services. I'm Sarah Chu, City Planner with the Philadelphia City Planning Commission. I'm here to testify on Bill number 200422, which was introduced by Councilmember Squilla on September 10, 2020. Bill number 200422 will authorize Philadelphia Chinatown Development Corporation to own and maintain a pedestrian plaza along the west median of the 10th Street and Vine Street intersection. The various encroachments will including a pergola, statues, benches, planters, tables, as well as other miscellaneous features. An approximate 18 feet sidewalks walking zone will be maintained for pedestrians. This proposal meets the complete streets policy. At its meeting on September 15, 2020, the Planning Commission recommended Bill number 200422 for approval as an item in accord with the previous policy. I'll be happy to answer questions at this time.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony. I want to take a minute to thank you both, thank this entire panel for your testimony on these set of bills. I also want to take a moment to open it up to my colleagues on council, as specifically members of this committee and folks who've joined us for this hearing. Does anyone have any questions or comments for this panel, this set of witnesses?
Councilman Thomas, this is Councilwoman Cindy Bass. I just wanted to be acknowledged as present for the hearing.
Thank you, Council. Thank you, Councilwoman. We appreciate you being here today.
Thank you.
Do you have any comments for this bill or any other bills, or just want to be?
Not at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any other council members with questions or comments for this panel? There being none, I want to thank you for your testimony on these set of bills. We appreciate your patience and we appreciate your insight. Thank you. Mr. Clerk, will you please call the next panel of witnesses?
Sure. The next bill to be heard is Bill 200423. We'll hear from Noelle Marconi and Sarah Chu, as well as 3 members of the public, Andrew Burdick, Brett Feldman, and Ashley Phillips. Mr. Chairman?
So Mr. Clerk, you're saying that's the entire panel for this bill?
Yes.
Okay, let's start with our first witness. You can call the first witness, and once your name is called, please say your name for the record and start with your testimony.
Noelle Marconi from Streets, will you begin?
Sure. Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the Streets and Services Committee. My name is Noelle Marconi. I'm the Director of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Streets. I'm here to offer testimony on Bill number 200423, introduced by Councilmember Squilla. The bill authorizes Keystone Property Group owner to construct, own, and maintain a proposed exterior building ramp at 100 South Independence Mall West into the right-of-way of the South Footway of Market Street. The Streets Department has no objections to these proposed encroachments and supports the passage of this bill. I also understand there are proposed amendments and we support those amendments. This concludes my testimony. I'm pleased to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, can you call the next witness and we'll do questions for those two together as a panel?
Of course. The next witness is Sarah Chu from the Planning Commission.
Good morning, Chairmember Thomas and members of Committee on Streets and Services. I'm Sarah Chu, City Planner with the Philadelphia City Planning Commission. I'm here to testify on Bill number 200423, amended, which was introduced by Councilmember Squilla on September 10, 2020. Bill number 200423 will permit a proposed exterior building ramp to be constructed at the property at 100 South Independence Mall West. The ramp will be located along the south right-of-way line of Market Street and will encroach upon the south footway of Market Street for approximately 5 feet 9 inches. A minimum 10 feet, a clear passable sidewalk space is to remain after the installation, with one pinch point at the existing lamp post. This proposal meets the Complete Streets policy requirement, and this proposal has also been reviewed and approved by the Art Commission about a week ago. The city planning is scheduled to consider this bill on October 20th with a staff recommendation for approval. I'll be happy to answer questions at this time.
Thank you. Thank you both for your testimony. We appreciate it. At this time, I want to open it up to members of council, members of this committee. Are there any questions for this set of witnesses on this bill? Hearing none, I want to thank you both for your testimony. Is very much appreciated, and we appreciate your insight on this bill. Mr. Clerk, can you please call the next set of witnesses for this particular bill?
Sure. We have public comment from Andrew Burdick, Brett Feldman, and Ashley Phillips. Andrew Burdick, if you're connected.
Hello, Brett Feldman.
Please state your name for the record, and you may begin with your testimony.
A clear, passable sidewalk space.
Okay, thank you.
After the installation, with one pinch point at the existing lamp post.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Feldman, will you please mute your background noise?
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system. 917704502 is not available. The mailbox.
We're just going to give the tech team a minute to try to get the witnesses who wish to testify to this bill on board. So for the viewing public that's watching right now, please just give us a minute. Our tech team is working to allow the witnesses who wanted to testify about this bill to get them on the line.
Jeff and Modesto, let us know when you're ready to go.
Feldman and Phillips are on the line. Burdick is not answering.
Okay.
Mr. Clerk, can you please call the name of the first witness that's actually on the line so they can begin with their testimony? Witnesses who are here, thank you for participating in government today. Please note that when your name is called, you will be given 2 minutes to testify on the bill that is up for discussion right now. Mr. Clerk.
We have Brett Feldman testifying on 200423. Mr. Feldman?
Yes.
Please state your name for the record, and you may begin with your testimony.
Good morning, members of the...
I'm sorry, we can't hear you, sir.
Brett Feldman?
Can you start all over, please? We couldn't hear you.
Yes. Good morning, members of the committee. Brett Feldman.
Yes, we can hear you now. You can start your testimony.
Okay. Members of the committee, good morning. Brett Feldman. I represent the owner of the building as well as the proposed tenant for this ordinance.
Okay.
And seeing that the committee members, I believe, have no questions, the only thing I would say is we want to thank Councilman Squilla for his introduction of this bill. Just in a nutshell, This provides much needed ADA accessibility to the former Roman Haas building at 6th and Market and is crucial for a new tenant, Macquarie Investment, to come into this building and bring approximately 500 jobs to the city. We have had this project reviewed by the Art Commission, the Streets Department, City Planning, and we very much appreciate their support and assistance with this matter. With that being said,
I'm sorry, we lost you.
and with that, I would open up to any questions that the committee might have. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. We appreciate it. Any council members or members of the committee have a question or a comment for this particular witness? Hearing none, I want to thank you for your testimony today. We appreciate it. We appreciate the insight. Mr. Clerk, can you please call the name of the next witness to testify on this bill?
Sure. We have Ashley Phillips commenting on 200423.
Hello, yes, my name is Ashley Phillips. I'm the Senior Project Architect for 100 Independence Mall West for the new ADA ramp. Just like to second Brett Feldman's comments previously. Open to any questions there are.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony. Any members of the committee or members that are part of this hearing have any questions for these witnesses on this particular bill? Hearing none, I want to thank you both for your testimony. It's very much appreciated. I know that we had a third witness. I'm assuming that witness, we still were not able to get connected to that witness. I'm assuming until I hear different. And if that witness is able to get connected, we will allow you to testify on this bill as well. With that being said, Mr. Clerk, can you please call the name of the next panel of witnesses along with the next bill?
Sure. The next two bills to be heard are 200. What did I just hear? Hello?
Yes, hello. This is Andrew Burdick. I just received a call from you all.
Yes, this is City Council, the Streets and Services Committee hearing. I believe you're calling to offer testimony on 200423.
So I had signed up in case there were questions.
Okay,
I do not have specific. Yes.
Okay, so we're live right now and we're on the record. So what we need you to do is we need you to state your name for the record, and then you can proceed with your testimony.
Okay. My name is Andrew Burdick. I'm with Macquarie Group, who is the tenant at the location for the ramp being proposed. I don't have any specific additional testimony to present at this time, but I'm offering any opportunities to answer questions, as are Brett Feldman and others who I believe were also called as part of this hearing.
Thank you. Thank you for taking the time to be a part of this conversation. Are there any members of the Streets Committee or council members that's a part of this hearing who have a question for this particular witness? Hearing none, we just want to say thank you for taking the time to let us know about this particular bill and your position on this bill, as we appreciate you calling in. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Mr. Clerk, can you please read the title of the next bill as well as the panel who will be testifying on the next bill?
Mr. Chairman, to clarify, do you need just the bill number or do you need the title of this?
I'm sorry. I want just the bill number as well as the panel.
Of course. The next two bills are 200481 and 200499. Our witnesses for these two are Noelle Marconi from Streets and Sarah Chu from City Planning Commission.
Please state your name and you may begin your testimony.
Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the Streets and Services Committee. My name is Noelle Marconi, and I'm the Director of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Streets. I'm here to offer testimony on Bill number 200481, introduced by Councilmember Squilla. This bill authorizes the Churchview Commons Condominium Association to own and maintain streetlights along the sidewalk frontage of 102-22 Church Street, Philadelphia, PA 19106. These streetlights are existing, and this bill is to approve the placement within the public right-of-way. The Streets Department has no objections to these proposed encroachments and supports the passage of this bill. I also understand there are proposed amendments, and we do support those amendments. This concludes my testimony. I'm pleased to answer any questions you may have. Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the Streets and Services Committee. My name is Noelle Marconi. I'm the Director of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Streets. I'm here to offer testimony on Bill number 200499, introduced by Councilmember Thomas on behalf of Council President Clark. This bill authorizes Mark Capriati, owner, to install, own, and maintain an encroachment in the form of an open-air sidewalk cafe located at 310 West Master Street. A minimum of 6 feet of clear passable sidewalk spaces to remain after the installation. The Streets Department has no objections to these proposed encroachments and supports the passage of this bill. This concludes my testimony. I'm pleased to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Clerk. Can you please call the next witness?
Sure. We have Sarah Chu providing testimony on 481 and bills 200481 and 200499.
Good morning, Chair Member Thomas and members of Committee on Streets and Services. I'm Sarah Chu, City Planner with the Philadelphia City Planning Commission. I'm here to testify on Bill number 200481, which was introduced by Councilmember Squilla on September 17, 2020. Bill number 200481 will permit Churchview Commons Condominium Association to own and maintain the existing 4 streetlights encroachment at 102-22 Church Street. The street lights are located within the furnishing zone. The Planning Commission is scheduled to consider this bill on October 20th, which is next Tuesday, with a staff recommendation for approval. And good morning, Chair Member Thomas and members of Committee on Streets and Services. I'm Sarah Chu, City Planner with the Philadelphia City Planning Commission. I'm here to testify on Bill number 200499, which was introduced by Councilmember Thomas for Council President Clark on September 24th, 2020. Bill number 200499 will permit a sidewalk cafe located along the south right-of-way line of West Master Street at the property addressed 310 West Master Street to encroach on the south footway of West Master Street approximately 3 feet, and approximately 6 feet of clear walking zone space will remain for pedestrians. This proposal meets the Complete Streets Policies requirement. The Planning Commission is scheduled to consider this bill on October 20th with staff recommendation for approval. I'll be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Thank you both for your testimony. I want to take a minute to open it up to the council members and members on this in this hearing right now to see if anyone had any questions or comments for this panel on these set of bills. Hearing none, I want to thank you both for your testimony. It's very much appreciated. And Mr. Clerk, can you please call the name of the next panel?
Sure. First, the clerk and the committee would like to thank Sarah Chu for her testimony today, as that concludes her testimony. The next bill to be heard is Bill 200375. Noelle Marconi from Streets will be testifying, as well as 2 public comments, Chris Meck and Nicole Westrick.
Mr. Chairman, this is Councilmember Squilla too. I'd like to make a comment here. We're going to hear this bill. There's still some more work to be doing, possibly some more amendments. We're going to hear the bill and then have it in committee. But we're going to hold this in committee at the end. But we will hear the testimony and then continue working on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. It's very much appreciated. Mr. Clerk, can you please call the name of the first witness so we can begin to hear testimony?
Sure. Our first witness is Noelle Marconi from the Streets Department.
Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the Streets and Services Committee. My name is Noelle Marconi. I'm the Director of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Streets. I'm here to offer testimony on Bill number 200375, introduced by Councilmember Squilla. This bill establishes an exemption to overnight truck parking for Vinnie's Fruit Truck Stand on the 900 block of Dickinson Street between 9th Street and 10th Streets on the north side. The regulation can be established as a trial. The Department of Streets has no objections to this bill and supports the passage as it is proposed to be amended. This concludes my testimony. I'm pleased to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from council members or members of the committee for this particular witness? Hearing none, I want to thank you for your testimony. Mr. Clerk, can we please call the next witness for public testimony?
Council support, do we have Chris Meck and Nicole Westrick available?
Hi, this is Chris.
Chris, how are you? My name is if you can hear me, how are you? My name is Councilmember at Large Isaiah Thomas. Where you signed up to testify in the Streets Committee hearing. We are here now live. Did you still want to communicate that testimony?
I do. Thank you for asking.
Okay, Chris, so if you could just state your name for the record, and you have 2 minutes to begin your testimony.
Thank you. My name is Chris Meck. My husband and I are rooted in Philly. We have our businesses here. We have lived for the past 21 years on the corner of 10th and Dickinson. Vinnie parks his truck on our sidewalk. We understand that his personality is a part of the fabric of our neighborhood. We have always respected the importance of his role in the history of our street corner, despite the challenges he may have posed over the last 2 decades. Illegal parking on the sidewalk, blocking pedestrians, blocking traffic, noise, loitering, entitlement. We are not asking him to go away. We are asking him to be a responsible, respectful neighbor. We understand that Vinnie wants to expand his business to connect electric to his truck, which was granted in bill number 190014. We were never informed of this legislation as their direct neighbor. And we just want him to be a good neighbor and inform us of his intentions. We also know that he wants to codify his parking rights, which is why we're here today for bill number 200375. As concerned neighbors, we want to ensure responsible, reasonable boundaries for his requested business changes. We are requesting reassurances that if granted these permissions, he will be held liable and accountable for upholding the requirements of the codes and provisions, and that these provisions include our concerns. Section 3 states that the permission granted is not transferable. However, we want clarification in the bill that if he is not involved in the business but owns the truck, all operations will cease at this location. In other words, we do not agree to have Vinnie sublet the space, even if he continues to own the truck. Once he's not involved, Section 1 of bill number 200375 should be null and void. The electric should be dismantled and the corner should go back to the regular street parking for the benefit of the community. After all, it's Vinnie the veggie guy that we're all trying to preserve, not his truck. Since Vinnie is codifying his business through these 2 pieces of legislation, we're concerned about making sure that the restrictions are in place prior to approving any further legislation. We were not given the opportunity to voice our opinion during the first hearing of bill number 190014. However, Councilman Squilla agreed to start the process with law to amend that bill in response to addressing our liability issues. We want reassurances to know that we're not going to be held liable for anything that happens in Vinnie's zone on our sidewalk. In other words, if he sells a banana and a client tosses the peel on the sidewalk next to his truck and another client slips and breaks his leg, we're currently held liable as homeowners of the connected sidewalk. And we just want to know that there's something written in this new legislation that protects us from the city or from his business to indemnify us from, his operations. We would also like to clarify.
I'm sorry.
Clearly define.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. You only have 2 minutes for your testimony, so your time is up. Can you just summarize the rest of your testimony so we can have that information for the record and it could be considered for the record and for this bill?
Yes, the last part is really important because he's currently halfway parked on our sidewalk. And I want to make sure that he does not spread out along the wall or use any more of the sidewalk to block traffic, like pedestrian traffic along the sidewalk. So we want to make sure that his operation is limited to the back of his truck, that he's not allowed to expand his business along the side or put up, chairs along the sidewalk. We're not telling him to go away. We just want him to be able to be a considerate neighbor, not block the sidewalk, and not expand his business operations to anything more than what he has done in the past. And we would like to make sure that these concerns are written into the bill and that it doesn't move forward until these checks and balances are in place. That's my main concern, is that these pieces of legislation were introduced and they weren't, and we as his direct neighbor were not informed of either piece of legislation until we started doing our own homework. And I don't think that was a good way of being a good concerned citizen or neighbor to us. And I just want him to be responsible.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony today. It's very much appreciated. Chair recognizes.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Am I supposed to stay on to listen to the other testimony? How does this work?
That's up to you. You will be disconnected at some point when we move on to the next bill. You can listen to the testimony, or you can watch on channel 465 or channel 64 or channel 65 as we are live right now. Thank you for your testimony. It's very much appreciated. Chair recognizes Councilmember Catherine Gilmore Richardson.
I just wanted to thank the witness for her testimony, but thank our vice chair for his willingness to continue to work with the neighbors in the community and for the clarification he provided prior to the witness's testimony. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Catherine Gilmore Richardson. And again, if you didn't hear Vice Chair Mark Swiller, he said that this bill would be held in committee and would not be looked to be voted on today, as he will continue to work on the bill. But thank you for your testimony. It's very much appreciated.
Also, Mr. Chairman, yes. This is Councilmember Fuller. For the record, this bill was actually introduced at request of the community, the RCO and the neighbors, because of the initial one with a 1714, which we did with the electric. We introduced this bill on their behalf to codify this, to make sure that this business would not be able to get transferred or sold and stay there. Mr. Capello has agreed to all these things. We just have to get the language a little tighter to make the community feel more secure in this legislation. So we'll continue to work with them, and we appreciate their input and all their guidance in this process. So thank you for your time and efforts.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair, for the clarity. And again, thank you to the witnesses who have communicated their opinion as it relates to this particular bill. Mr. Clerk, is there another witness for this bill, or are we moving on to the next bill?
We have Nicole Westrick also.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, can you please call the name of the next witness? And once your name is called, please state your name for the record, and you may begin with your testimony. Mr. Clerk.
Sure. The next witness is Nicole Westrick, commenting on 375. Please go ahead, Ms. Westrick. I apologize.
That's okay. Hi, I'm Nicole Westrick. I am a neighbor at 929 Dickinson. Chris has expressed many of the issues that I have documented as well. This is in no way a request to get rid of Vinny. He's part of the fabric of the community. I've lived here for 8 years now. But I do want to add a few points that we would like to see codified into the ordinance. One is established hours of operation. It is really important to note that Pahlski and the areas just a few blocks away on Broad Street are considered no street vendor areas. So it's really important to us to have it codified what the exact hours of operations are, given that other areas in the community are no street vendor spaces. I would also like to note that in 9-203, the guidance that governs street vendors, it notes that a truck cannot be permitted within 15 feet of any vegetation. Currently, Vinny's truck is, in addition to being up on the sidewalk by 3 feet, is within 7 feet of one of our street trees. And so that is concerning to me, as we have seen actions in the past where he's ripped part of tree branches off. And then the final thing is just to reiterate Ms. Meck's point about safety and sight lines. Because of the size of the box truck, it does create a point of danger for cars turning left from 9th Street onto Dickinson, as there have been a number of fender benders at that location. I was unable to pull the data because I couldn't get it from the state of Pennsylvania, but I think it's important to look at the sight lines and the way that obstructs the sight lines, particularly from those turning from 9th Street onto Dickinson. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimony. It's definitely appreciated. Are there any questions or comments from members of council for this particular witness? Hearing none, I want to thank you again for your testimony today. We really appreciate your insight and perspective as it relates to this bill. And with that being said, Mr. Clerk, can you please call the panel and bill number for the next set of bills?
Sure. The next set of bills has only Noelle Marconi testifying. I'll read off those numbers. They are 200415, 200495, 200500, 200517, 200163, 200187, 200210, and 200211. Bill 200178 is being held in committee at the sponsor's request.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Please state your name and proceed with your testimony for each of the bills.
Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the Streets and Services Committee. My name is Noelle Marconi. I'm the Director of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Streets. I'm here to offer testimony on Bill number 200415, introduced by Councilmember Heenan. This bill establishes a no truck parking regulation on both sides of Tolbert Street from Torresdale Avenue eastbound to the end of the roadway. The Department of Streets has no objections to this bill and supports its passage. The regulation can be posted within 30 days of the passage of this bill. This concludes my testimony. I'm pleased to answer any questions you may have. Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the Streets and Services Committee. My name is Noelle Marconi. I am the Director of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Streets. I'm here to offer testimony on Bill number 200495, introduced by Councilmember Johnson. This bill will regulate the movement of traffic on certain portions of Ludlow Street. The Department of Streets has no objections to this bill and supports its passage. The department will implement a trial run within 30 days. This concludes my testimony. I'm pleased to answer any questions you may have. Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the Streets and Services Committee. My name is Noelle Marconi. I'm the Director of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Streets. I'm here to offer testimony on Bill number 200500, introduced by Councilmember O'Neill. This bill removes existing parking meters and regulations, as well as establishing an authorized vehicles only regulation in front of 7306 Castor Avenue and both sides of the 7300 block of Elgin Street. This bill allows for the parking of police vehicles in front of the new 2nd District Police Station and will remove existing parking meters. The department has no objections to this bill and supports the passage. The regulation can be posted within 30 days of the passage of this bill. This concludes my testimony, and please answer any questions you may have. Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the Streets and Services Committee. My name is Noelle Marconi. I'm the Director of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Streets. I'm here to offer testimony on Bill number 200517, introduced by Councilmember Squilla on behalf of Council President Clark. This bill extends the period of compliance for Bill number 180692 that was approved on October 31st, 2018, to legalize an existing wood deck and ramp encroachment at 1338-1344 Rising Sun Avenue. The Streets Department has no objections to this extension and supports the passage of the bill. This concludes my testimony. I'm pleased to answer any questions you may have. Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the Streets Committee. My name is Noelle Marconi. I am the Director of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Streets. I'm here to offer testimony on Bill number 200163, introduced by Councilmember Bass. This bill establishes no truck parking regulations on Belfield Avenue between North 20th Street and Worcester Street, and Ogons Avenue between West Somerville Avenue and Lindley Avenue. The Streets Department has no objections to this bill and supports its passage. The regulations can be posted within 30 days of the passage of this bill. I also understand there are proposed amendments, and we support those amendments. This concludes my testimony. I'm pleased to answer any questions that you may have. Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the Streets and Services Committee. My name is Noelle Marconi. I'm the Director of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Streets. I'm here to offer testimony on Bill number 200187, introduced by Councilmember Thomas on behalf of Council President Clark. This bill establishes a no parking regulation on the east side of North 31st Street between Jefferson Street and West Thompson Street. The Department of Streets has no objections to this bill and supports its passage. The department will implement a trial run within 30 days. This concludes my testimony, and I'm pleased to answer any questions you may have. Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the Streets and Services Committee. My name is Noelle Marconi. I'm the Director of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Streets. I'm here to offer testimony on Bill number 200210, introduced by Councilmember Squilla. This bill authorizes Walnut Street Theater Corporation to construct, own, and maintain a building overhang within the right-of-way at 815-23 Walnut Street. This overhang will project approximately 3 feet over the north footway of Walnut Street. The Streets Department has no objections to this proposed encroachment and supports the passage of this bill. This concludes my testimony, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Good morning, Chairperson Thomas and members of the Streets and Services Committee. My name is Noelle Marconi, and I'm the Director of Legislative Affairs for the Department of Streets. I'm here to offer testimony on Bill number 200211, introduced by Councilmember Bass. This bill establishes a no truck parking regulation on 5800 Musgrave Street. The Department of Streets has no objections to this bill. It is proposed to be amended and supports its passage. The new regulations will be posted within 30 days of the passage of this bill. And this concludes my testimony. I'm pleased to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimony on those set of bills. Are there any questions from council members on this committee or council members who've joined us for this hearing today? Hearing none, I want to thank you for your testimony all day today. Thank you and your department for your great insight. We appreciate you and your presence as it relates to our streets hearing today. Council members, are there any other questions or comments from the committee in general? We have completed our public testimony. Do any council members have a comment or a question that they want to add for the record? There being no further questions from members or the committee and no other witnesses to testify, I will ask if there is anyone else present in the hearing whose name we have failed to call and that wishes to offer testimony on any of the bills being considered today. Hearing none, I want to thank all the panels and all the witnesses for your participation today. We value your opinions. I now invite all panels and witnesses to please disconnect from the meeting before we go into our public meeting. We will now pause for proceedings briefly as multiple participants leave the hearing. This concludes the public hearing of the committee. We will now go into the public meeting to consider actions to be taken on the bills before the committee today. Just want to give it a minute.
Of course. Jeff and Modesto, could you let us know when the witnesses are cleared?
I know I'm moving fast. So.
Sure. I'm okay with that.
Okay, we are clear.
Thank you. Mr. Maynard, will you please call the roll to take attendance? Members that are in attendance, will you please indicate that you are present when your name is called? Also, please say a few brief words when responding so that your image will be displayed on screen when you speak.
Chair Thomas.
Present.
Vice Chair Squilla.
Present, and great job, Mr. Chairman. A difficult hearing and a lot of bills, but well done. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you and your office for your support. We appreciate you.
Councilmember Bass.
I am present, and thank you again, Mr. Chairman, for conducting such a very informative hearing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember.
Councilmember O.
President, thank you very much. Continuing the tradition of excellent chairpersons of this Streets and Services Committee.
Thank you. I had a good teacher. Thank you, Councilmember O.
Councilmember Brooks.
I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Brooks.
Councilmember Johnson. Councilmember Johnson. Councilmember Gilmore Richardson.
I'm here. Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. And thank you so much to our Vice Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember. We appreciate you. Thank you in general to everybody. A quorum of committee members is present. The chair recognizes Councilmember Swiller for a single motion to approve the amendments to the bills that are being considered today.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I offer amendments to Bill number 200163, 200185, 200211, 200373, 200375, 200388, 200423, 200481, and 200499. A copy of these amendments have been circulated to all members of the committee. I move that these amendments be approved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that the amendments to the bills just read by Councilmember Swiller be approved. All those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, the ayes have it. The motion carries, and these amendments have been approved. The chair recognizes Councilman Swiller for a single motion on the bills that are being considered today.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move the bills number 200093, 200158, 200162, 200163 as amended, 200179, 200185 as amended, 200186, 200187, 200209, 200210, 200211 as amended, 200259, 200373 as amended, 200388 as amended, 200415, 200422, 200423 as amended, 200481 as amended, 200495, 200496, 200497, 200498, 200499 as amended, 200500, and 200517 be approved.
Second.
With a suspension of the rules, a favorable recommendation further move that the rules of council be suspended to permit first reading of these bills at the next session of council.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that the bills just read by Councilmember Swillow, including amendments that have been approved today, be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation, and further move that the rules of council be suspended to permit first reading of these bills at the next session of council. All those in favor of this motion will signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, the ayes have it, and the motion carries. This concludes our business for the Committee of Streets and Services today. I want to thank you all for your patience. We had over 20 bills on the docket today. For the record, for the public, the reason that this was such a long committee hearing with so many bills is because of the restrictions of COVID-19. We were limited in our ability to hold hearings in the past. And so now we are trying our best to support the different industries that we need to improve the quality of life for citizens of Philadelphia. So I want to thank all of my colleagues on this committee for your attendance and your patience today. I want to thank all the witnesses for your strong communication. And most importantly, I want to thank those in the viewing public who got an opportunity to see their government in action today. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you guys probably very soon in our next committee hearing.
Great job, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
everybody.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you.